In this series entitled The Law of Love. The Law of Love. Amen. Mark chapter 12. Are you there? We're going to start with verse 28. Then one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, perceiving that he had answered them well, asked Jesus, that is, which is the first commandment of all? Jesus answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. And the second, like it, is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. So we've been talking about the law of love, and we defined love last week as obedience to God. Now, that automatically causes problems for us, because in our culture, love is defined as how I feel about somebody. And so if I feel good about you today, then I can say I love you. But if I wake up tomorrow and you get on my nerve, then I don't want to be bothered with you. We love God. We have, like the move of God we had today, we're in his presence and we sing that song, I love you, Lord, I love you. But what does it mean to love God? That I have warm and fuzzies in my heart towards him? That I'm just overcome with just floods of joy because I love God? How do we demonstrate to God that we love him? We saw last week there's only one way that we demonstrate to God that we love him. And that is that we keep his commandments. So I can't say, God, I love you with all my heart, and then I ignore everything he tells me to do. Because I really then don't love him. But the Lord knows my heart. Oh, yeah, he does. And he knows your heart is the same as everybody else's heart. Our heart is full of evil. And in our flesh dwells no good thing. And he knows that you have the same capacity to obey him like any other human, but you're choosing not to. The Lord knows my heart. Oh, yeah, he does. He sure does. He knows that you have the capacity to say yes, and yet you say no. Okay, so let's do a quick test. Love your enemies. Why do we try to love our enemies? Come on. Why do we try to love our enemies? For what reason do we try to love our enemies? Huh? Y'all, come on, y'all use your preacher voice. Okay, let me make it easy for you. Does our Constitution demand, as Americans, does our Constitution demand that we love our enemies? No. Does the state of New Jersey demand that we love our enemies? No. So why do we try to love our enemies? That's right. That's the only document on the face of the earth that demands love your enemy. So the whole reason why we're trying to love our enemies is because this book, authored by God, tells us that's what we're supposed to do. Now, I think a lot of us would hope in certain circumstances that wasn't in there. Because if it weren't in here, then we would have a justifiable right not to do it. But if we say we love him, then what he tells us to do is not optional. All the parents in the house, just wave at me. I'm going to talk to you for a minute. All the parents in the house. When your kids were growing up, or your kids are growing up, they could give you the best Mother's Day, Father's Day cards and tell you how much they love you, how much they appreciate all you've done for them, appreciate all the gifts you buy them, that kind of stuff. But for you as a parent, the rubber meets the road when you give your child instructions. Mommy, you know I love you. Daddy, you know I love you. Uh-huh. But I told you to take out the garbage. See, God is no different than us because we're made in his image. We expect obedience from our children, right? I wonder if God sometimes sits in heaven and laughs when he hears us making our excuses to him why we won't obey him. And then we turn right around and say to our kids, didn't I tell you to do such and such? But God, you know I love you. Uh-huh. Then do what I tell you to do. Our love for God is demonstrated, not in just what we say. God, I love you, I love you, I love you. No, I can't say it, doggone it. But I knew this child once who, whenever they got in trouble and it was time for them to receive discipline, they would always say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. When we break the law of love, obedience to God, it opens up the door to the law of sin and death.